Welcome back. Well, Manchester United are through to the last 16 of the Champions League, and that's Jose Mourinho's way of celebrating. Here is the Group H table. It looks like this with one game left to play. You can see Juventus beat Valencia this evening. Manchester United confirmed their place in the knockout stages with that late victory. Next time Manchester United travel to Valencia, young boys welcome Juventus to Bern. So, Damien Duff, they got it done. They were seconds away from disaster, but Manchester United got it done. Fellaini's goal.
Yeah, absolutely massive goal from Fellaini. He's a nuisance, an effective nuisance, not pretty on the eye. And one thing you'll say about him, he gives his heart and soul to the club, to his manager, which you can say maybe some others don't. But I think a team with any sort of quality beats them tonight. If they had to go to Valencia and get a result, I think it would have been a big struggle. Still, I think there's no fluidity about them. They're an incredibly sloppy team to watch. Whether that's attitude or what. Here's the goal, long ball, which again, listen, it can be effective. I touched on it before the game. It's come off tonight. Gets too tight to him, the defender, and you know when this happens with his strength, he can roll you, and that's always on to get that shot off in between his legs. But like I said, absolutely massive goal. You can see what it meant to Mourinho with his celebration, but still, again, an awful watch. And like many times this season, there we go, he wouldn't like to be in the front row. Like many times this season, people have gone, have they turned the corner? Well, looking at that tonight, absolutely not.
But could that be the moment that allows them to turn the corner successfully, Didi?
I don't know how. We watched them a few times now this season. Do you see progress in the way they play? I don't. I don't think many do. You know, they got out of jail again by a long ball. Two of the most physical players. We know they're capable of that, and you know I've not got a problem if you do that towards the end of the game. But over the 90 minutes, you've got to try and pass it. Well, they passed a bit more or a bit better. When they did have chances, they just missed them poorly, and yeah, I just don't know where they go from here. It probably keeps them in the job till they play the last 16 in the new year. But what you want to see as a fan or a board of directors, you want to see progress. Is there any progress under him? I don't think so.
Yeah, Liam, that is the point, I suppose. You know, no matter what happens in the league, and I think actually that's only their fourth win out of 10 games at home this season. The Champions League and the kind of lure of that. Manchester United have always had this obsession with that competition. To go on a really decent run in that, like, you know, no matter what's happening in the Premier League, does that keep Mourinho away from pressure? Or away from...
Well, I wouldn't say it keeps them away from pressure, but it's something to look forward to now in you know, when the Champions League ends after the next round. And they have the draw to look forward to, and another exciting tie at, you know, two-legged tie, home and away. But, you know, Mourinho said before the game that it was a really tough group. Is he kidding? He's not kidding anybody. Like, Valencia were a very, very average team. And very nearly won the match. If De Gea doesn't make that save, they probably, you know, they might even lose. And this is, as Didi says, there's no style about them. I do believe they have the players there and the playing staff there, but whatever way the relationship is between the manager and the players, it's just not working. It's detached. He hasn't got any confidence in them. I don't think they have any confidence in him. The players will be delighted that they're in the, you know, something to look forward to, because the league is over, isn't it?
You mentioned about the save, and you know there's a lot of speculation about this guy's future. They're talking about 75 million to PSG for David De Gea. Like, if Manchester United were ever to lose this guy, how many points a season is this fella worth? And this was an astonishing save.
Well, I think in the last few seasons, Dara, he's won the Player of the Year for the fans 2 or 3 times. You know, and this is a quite unbelievable save. It comes off Mbappe, and it's a deflection, and it's in all the way. Yeah. Like the Swiss players are kind of celebrating. They've got their arms up. They think it's in, and it's quite amazing how he stretches that right arm out to get that ball out of the net. An absolutely brilliant save, and one of the best saves you will ever see. He's a great goalkeeper, and they look like they're going to lose him.
Yeah, he's holding
on. As I say, he's been the Player of the Year. which is not really what you want at Old Trafford, your goalkeeper to be the player of the year in the last 2 or 3 seasons.
He is that good, though, for sure. He is that good.
Yeah, but why is he the best player, Dara?
Well, maybe because he's a great goalkeeper,
No,
which
when
he is.
Fergie was manager, the goals were going in the other end.
Yeah, I know. We were trying to think of better saves as well, and Gordon Banks came up and Dudek in the Champions League final and stuff like that, but it was a brilliant, brilliant save. Damien, the Manchester United chances, like they had 22 scoring attempts. Very revealing is the fact that only 4 of them were on target, but loads of chances.
They did, yeah. And listen, you can say they deserve to win, even though, you know, young boys give them a few frights, a few scares at time. They kept prodding away. I still think, you know, not the prettiest of watches. But yeah, here, Rashford, disappointed for him because he's a young boy and he might be feeling the pressure, just snatching at shots around the box in the first half and the second half. That's obviously on his weaker foot. But they kept probing. I said, not with great quality maybe at times, all helter-skelter stuff. Fellaini just needs to let that drop that bit more. I'm not sure what the keeper's doing here. Just come and catch you, whether it's a foul maybe could have been given, but Fellaini has to do better, even though he's got the winner at the end. And here they are. I think, listen, young boys, they kept going, but they were dead on their feet. You could see some of the recovery runs at time was a real slog for them. Shots from distance, maybe I'd say half of them, 22, are from that. But young boys, like we were doing clips before Fellaini's winner, like they defended really well at times, bodies on the line, like I said, even when they were dead on their feet. Here's Pogba when he came on, flicking and tricking. And again, Rashford just snatching at things. Maybe that's, you know, the pressure, the fear that Mourinho's talking about. I know he had to go with the young boys midweek. Lukaku on. Did he do much? No. But, you know, if balls come into the box, here's Fellaini, that Lukaku will be thereabouts. He's a big lump. But, you know, still not the greatest of watches, but a big, massive, massive 3 points.
Didi, what happens now? The club, the transfer window will be open in January. Do Manchester United back Mourinho, buy him the defenders and other players that he wants? They still haven't appointed a technical director, which the two appear to be linked, whether they, you know, does Mourinho want the technical director and all that stuff? There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes there. What happens?
Well, I'm not sure whether any technical director who's deemed good enough for Manchester United will go there at the moment, because I think within a few weeks you've got to make a decision whether you keep him or not. And I think most likely they want to get rid of him. And if you go in as a director of football, I'm not sure whether you've got the power to do that. Talking about the transfer market, potential new signings of players, I wouldn't give him a penny. I wouldn't give him a penny to spend. Every player he's got in the last few years he made worse. There's not one player there who's improved under him, who's been made better, which was one of his trademarks. When he first came to England, players thrived under him. Players, he brought a young Terry, a young Lampard, Ashley Cole, Chelsea. They became better players, and this is exactly the opposite now. So I wouldn't give him a penny to spend in the winter.
Well, food for thought for Manchester United fans. OK, that's Jose Mourinho with our own Peter Collins at Old Trafford, and a frustrated Jose Mourinho, Liam.
Yeah, well, he is correct in saying that they missed a barrel load of chances. You know, Rashford in particular had a real off day. But he seems to be putting all the blame on the kid and other players as well. Whereas I think, you know, if he handled the players better, Rashford would play like he plays for England. I mean, if he goes out for England, he doesn't have that problem. And I think he's got carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders because Mourinho has kind of isolated him and criticised him, and it's showing in his in the way he's not taking his chances. The other part of what he said was fairly true. You know, if De Gea doesn't make that save, they really are up against it. But no, they're into the next stage, and we're all kind of like the soap opera of Mourinho and the big game, so it's something to look forward to.
You see, this is the thing, Didi. If Jose Mourinho was not in the Premier League or in the Champions League, what on earth would we talk about? Because I would think he probably quite likes the fact that people are sitting here in Dublin and elsewhere, all around the world, having a chat about him and his demeanour and what he thinks, and, oh, he looks frustrated. Look, we all do that. We all fall into that.
Would you miss him?
Yes.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't miss him.
Well, for the drama and the kind of soap opera stuff.
I know, but it's got to be too far.
Not necessarily the football.
No, what you want to see is a guy is one of the most decorated manager of the modern era. You want to see him to handle himself the right way, treat his own players with respect, treat the opposition with respect. I think there have been too many lapses and things in the past where I just don't agree, just can't do it. I think you've still got to stay humble and dignified, whether it's in defeat or whether you win. And too often in recent years he didn't do that, and that's why I think it's gone a bit too far. I want to see managers at big clubs where I look up to. And there's, you know, you saw a wonderful scene with Pochettino in Sarri. They have a chat before the game, they hug each other, they play a fierce game for 90 minutes. One wins, one loses, shake hands, and then move on. With him, you don't get it. And, you know, it was interesting. It was something new when he first came. I think it's very, it's very laboured and annoying at times. So, I wouldn't miss him too much. And the way he's going at the moment, the way his team plays, I'm not sure how much longer we see him in the Premier League.
And Damien, have you noticed him kind of change over the years? Like, I know that there's always been that kind of soap opera element, or, you know, some of the stuff is, at times it's for the cameras or look at me, but in private, I'm sure quite different.
Like, he's amazing fun, believe it or not, in private. But for me, he's definitely lost that bit of sparkle. And I know it kills him when there is negative results, and he's having a lot of them at Man United, and when he does lose or draw or anything like that, he's one of the moodiest people you'll ever meet, and I think it shows. But he's definitely lost something. I don't think he's moved with maybe the modern type of player I've touched on before. Liam mentioned it before the game. You know, 20, 30 years ago, or even 15 years ago, you could shout and scream and bawl at players, but it's a bit softer now, I think, and a totally different approach for managers. You look at Klopp, he's all emotion, but it's hugs and kisses. You don't see that with Jose.
And Pochettino the same.
Exactly, yeah.
You're going to have to criticise players, Darry, but you do it in the privacy of the dressing room. You don't do it in front of media, or as he did tonight on the sideline. Like, everybody knew that he was saying, "Look, I've got to play with this Rashford kid. You know, he's missing chances like this. You know, what am I supposed to do?"
Yeah.